Yeah, I made a mistake there. Anyway, so I wanted to do a video. This one is going to be about, just pertaining to, I don't need to hear anything in my ear while I'm doing this. Um, but yeah, this will pertain to why is it most of the time with colorism channels, when we see the people who are basically the content creators of those channels, that they are usually brown skinned, or why is it often that you can see brown skinned colorism crybaby content creators? I don't understand that. I kinda do, but to me it seems so obvious that it's like, how come nobody ever pays attention to it? I mean, for example, most of the time, on colorism crybaby channels, what do they focus on? They focus on dark skin being seen as less ideal, is seen as less attractive. And many of the time they're seen as, like painting dark skin as basically the lesser of black women who are on a continuum of who's the most attractive based off of your skin tone, right? So basically, in the colorism hierarchy, we have white women at the top. I know a lot of people don't like to address that. When we talk about this silly topic, and I don't believe in colorism, but I'm saying what they are contending basically implies that white women would be at the top of this hierarchy. And you can see on these channels the kinds of hate that they give white women. And the reason they do that is because of their own anger with themselves and lack of love for themselves. So, with that, they try to basically have it where basically they have a situation where they don't like the people who are lighter skinned. The white people are put in a very negative light on their channel. And then they put so much focus on light skinned and mixed race women. They put this focus on them. And they put it in a view of, oh, it puts dark skinned black women down. But the thing is, it's not really truly that, because if it really was that, then well, how come dark skinned black women are portrayed as less attractive on your platforms? You put forward the idea that dark skinned black women are judged off their skin tone and are deemed unattractive off of their skin tone. And you mean to tell me you're trying to make dark skinned black women seem better? Really? Oh, just because you are saying light skinned women are basically women who are holding dark skinned women in a light that makes them undesirable. And I kind of feel like, you know, you're basically using this as a way to benefit yourself. And I've talked about this before with other content creators that people do not see, cannot see, they don't show their faces, they don't really show their skin tone. People claim they've seen their skin tone maybe once or twice, but we don't really know for sure, what their actual complexion is. In this video, I'm not talking about individuals like that who hide behind computer screens and just talk. I'm talking about the people who actually have the nerve to show their faces. Most of the time, you will notice that almost all of them talk about how they basically have one form of colorism or another. In two cases I can come up with, they are literally brown-skinned women. For example, Paris Milan and what's the other woman's name? Chioma. And if you look at both of them and their platforms, you'll be able to see right off they have no issue with colorism. I will explain how they don't have any issue with colorism. Watch, like, well, one video you can't actually watch because, Paris Milan, for example, she removed a video back in 2019. She had it up. I don't know when she took it down, but I've been on YouTube for 2 years and I've watched many different colorism channels and all that sort. Um, for a while, I've watched mainly the colorism crybaby channels because I was curious about them because, they kind of explain some of the stuff I felt but did not have verbalized. And, you would feel it from, darker skinned women sometimes, but, you wouldn't really want to believe that's what was going on. Because, I mean, like, from my perspective, I've always seen basically dark skinned black women, light skinned black women, brown skinned black women are all the same to me. We're all black, you know, and trying to act like we're different is just ignorance, in my opinion. The reason it's ignorance is because basically, oh, sorry, my legs are getting tired, but, basically, um, they have, sorry, itch. But basically, a lot of the time with the colorism channels, they kind of show sometimes what some insecure people with their skin tone are thinking without, exposing themselves in real life. And so I watched them first. And anyway, like, I saw this one video from Paris Milan, and Paris Milan had this video that had to do with basically mixed race and light skinned black women. And basically, it was a video just basically saying, for one, she was wearing like a really bright foundation, which was sad. Yeah, she was doing it obviously for the video. And more than that, though, was the fact that she was, saying how she used to lie about her father's heritage because she felt insecure about not being mixed and she wanted so badly to be mixed. She also said in that video how she would pray to God about being mixed or being black, wishing that she was mixed, things of that nature. And you can see, when it comes to complexion and things of that nature with her, she will always choose dark-skinned black men to prefer her over dark-skinned women. So obviously, the issue of colorism doesn't matter to her when it benefits her. She just doesn't like that mixed race women and light skinned women are, in her view, preferred because she played a game that she was already going to fail because every black woman's going to fail. Light skinned, brown skinned, white passing. If you aren't white, you're not ideal according to this colorism scale that people invented. Because white people are the lightest. So, I mean, like saying that light skinned women basically get a privilege in being, you know, lighter skinned for the colorism claim. It's like, well, if that was the case, then what would happen to white people? Because white people are tons lighter than light skinned people. Light skinned people are dark compared to white people. White people outnumber light skinned people by like so much, much more than even dark skinned women, because dark skinned women outnumber light skinned women. Do you see how, if in colorism white women are seen as more ideal and they're able to get preference in this whole made up thing that we set up for another race of women to basically benefit from, you see how it's dumb to be upset at black and mixed women because they're just a little lighter than you. Like, that's the stupid part of it. But the point is, people like that, what they do is they use the colorism crybaby claims to have hate against mixed race women, light-skinned women, because they don't like light-skinned mixed race women because it gets in the way of them feeling better than dark-skinned black women. And you can see this in her other video when she's talking about a black man who's dark-skinned. And mind you, she's not talking about men her color because she's not dark-skinned. Um, she's talking about how he did not acknowledge her beauty or did not, shower her with compliments, but showered a white woman with compliments. Again, it's a whole thing about male attention, which colorism crybabies often are. But like I said, it wasn't, you're looking for attention from a dark skinned black man. So you're looking to be preferred over dark skinned women. So you don't care about dark skinned black women being seen as less attractive. In fact, you promote that idea in hopes that that benefits you. Because once dark skinned black people are basically seen as, less than, and mixed women and light skinned women have a connotation in benefiting over dark skinned black women and validified in the process, who is left of black women? It is brown skinned women. And that's why brown skinned women like that basically create that dynamic. When they create a dynamic of fighting between the two sides, it leaves peace for those in between. So, especially for those who are mammies like her, who constantly, want that black male attention, they aren't the type that have an issue with colorism, because no mammy ever has any issue with colorism. Mammies agree with colorism. They just have a concern on how much they fit into that ideal of colorism. That's why dark skinned mammies have an issue. They don't have an issue with dark skin being seen as less than. They are more concerned about the fact that they have dark skin and how does that make them look to black men who they want. So they agree with dark skinned men that they think dark skin is less ideal. And you could see this with Chioma, for example. You could see she's a bleacher, or she said she bleached at one point in her life. Who knows if she still bleaches now, but the point is she bleached. She has a video where she talks about bleaching. And it's like, you talked about bleaching your skin. You've talked about posting photos with dark-skinned people to make them look really dark-skinned and make you look lighter-skinned because you thought light skin was better. You dated somebody who was a colorist. These are signs that a person agrees with colorism. What their problem is how much they fit into that hierarchy of colorism that they have made up, basically. Which is just so self-hating, but you will see often many mammies like this who believe in the whole colorism stuff of, dark skin is less than and lighter skin is better and trying to get themselves to as light as possible, will have a history of bleaching. The reason why they have a history of bleaching is because they agree with the standard that light skin is better. So they get with colorist men, not because colorist men just sneak and find a way in and, trick them into being a relationship or anything. It's more so of the situation where these people, were, they were basically of the same mindset. They both thought dark skinned black man and dark skinned black woman, who's a mammy, that light skin was better. The thing is with that whole situation is they thought that they could appease him by trying their best to get to that ideal. And they felt like that was the only way that they could, because they agree, that lighter skin is better. Of course, that's something that they will always try to attempt to be close to. This is what you see with light-skinned mammies. You see this often, so heavily often with mammies my color especially, because we're close to light skin. I mean, we're not yellow, but we're light brown. And so they try to push as hard as they fucking can to look as light skinned as white, because even when you're light skinned, you're still not at the top because they're white women. Excuse me. So they constantly go through this period where they're trying their best to please the dark skinned black man, and the only way they feel they can prove to dark skinned black men that they're worthy is by being as white looking as they can. And I mean, obviously, someone like Queen Chiyomo couldn't be white looking, but they try. They try their best. Um, of course, someone like me can't be white looking. You know, people try. Mammies try, okay? That's all they ever do is try, I guess you could say. And the reason they try is because they have low self-esteem and they have no self-respect for themselves. They have no self-love for themselves. This is why, among other women, they hate other women. This is why they attack other women, because all they are stuck on thinking is, basically black women are less than, and they hate being a black woman. Of course they hate other black women, and so it doesn't turn out too good. This is why I try to stay away from mammy platforms. um so I think that's a major reason why a lot of colorism platforms have a head of somebody who is a brown skinned mammy. They usually aren't dark skinned, they usually aren't light skinned because they basically benefit from the riffraff of the two sides because both sides get attacked basically. Dark skinned people as undesirable, light skinned black women alienated, villainified, and seen basically as really not real black women, basically. So what is left is a brown skinned mammy who is orchestrating the whole situation. So that's how I feel as far as colorism platforms. And a big part of colorism platforms, like I said, is mammies. Because feeling inferior about being black and, trying to be as white as you can, no matter what your complexion is, to please a black man is basically, that's so typical in my acknowledgement of seeing just black mammies. Mammies often do this. The only mammy who doesn't do this is white women because they're already white. And yes, there are white mammies. A lot of people don't realize there are white mammies. I did a whole video on that, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But yeah, those are the only mammies who, basically have no, desire to make themselves more white because they're already white, to appeal to a black man. They're just, white. They're at the top of the colorism hierarchy already that really doesn't exist, but when you make it up to exist, then you're making white people feel better about themselves when you really didn't have to do that. So that's all I have to say on that video. I'll do another video. This one is going to be more along the other side of colorism, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye.